I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Hello, how are you? Today we're gonna talk about something that scares us, that frightens us, which is imposter syndrome. Do you ever felt that fear of, oh, what would they think about me? I don't know anything. I couldn't share because I don't know anything, or my knowledge is not enough to share it to the world. Well, today we're gonna discuss this. We're gonna give you some tips about how to overcome this, and I have a statement for you, a provocative statement for you to think about it. Look, if you're not enough, if you think you're not enough good enough to speak to people, to help people, how could you think that you could have customers? How could you think that you could be an employee of someone if you couldn't help? So think about it, please. And at the end, let me know on comments what do you came up with this idea. Okay. Welcome, Bridgetti. Welcome, Fonz. Welcome, Tina. How are you?
We are well.
Yeah,
How are
good.
you?
Okay.
Very well, thank you. Great to be here.
Say good. Perfect. So maybe it could be nice for people to know who we are and where we are. Ladies first, please.
Bridgetti?
Okay, I'm Bridgetti Lim Banda from Cape Town in South Africa. I am a live stream producer and talk show host, and I'm very passionate about social needs. I'm also passionate about responsible social media. So I've got the hashtag responsible social media. And you can find me anywhere and everywhere under my name, Bridgetti Lim Banda. And I am in Cape Town in South Africa. And I am very, very pleased to be here with my friends today.
Good
Perfect.
morning. Well, good afternoon. Good morning from sunny South Florida, USA. I am Tina VaLant. I am an award-winning photographer. I happen to raise and release native butterflies here. It's just my little hobby of over 20 years. I'm also a passionate live streamer, one of the creators of Ladies Go Live community. And from a photography standpoint, I know the importance of the imposter syndrome because I see it in so many of my clients. They say, oh, my nose is too big. I'm not attractive. My ears are too big. Those are my two little quirks. And they don't feel they're good enough. So what we really do is encourage people to build their confidence because we are what we think. You are what you think. And everybody has a message, and there's someone out there waiting to hear your message.
Perfect. Mr. Fonz.
Yeah, I'm Fonz Chamberlain from Cambridge. I'm an historian here, so involved with a lot of the history, and I'm also a former radio presenter and broadcaster, now moving onto video, so broadcasting via visual means. So
Good. Well, I'm Marco from Portugal. I'm passionate about this live streaming. As I used to say, it was love at first live. And one of the things, so maybe it should be the first topic about to discuss. Overthinking, I think it's one of the biggest problems when we want to start. For instance, when I started this on live streaming in 2015, I think I started because I didn't think too much. Someone asked me, "Do you want to join?" And then, whoa, there we go. and I think it could be a nice way to begin the conversation. Did you think when you gave that first step too much? Did you were aware of the problems, or just went and then let's think about it? Bridgetti.
I was very, very scared in the beginning. And I think a lot of people relate to that because I was one of those people who typically spent too much time overthinking going live. Now, I know that there's going to be tons of people out there who's going to relate to my story. I used to put on my makeup, I used to put on great clothes, and I used to sit in front of the camera, and I used to look at that camera, and my heart would start racing. My palms would get sweaty, and I would sit there forever. And, it felt like my heart was just like thumping in my chest. And I thought, I am just going to die. If I push that go live button, something's going to happen and people are going to pack up laughing at me. And I sat there in absolute fear. I'd sit there forever and I could not hit the go live button. In fact, I think I hit the go live button a couple of times and I just canned it because I didn't have the guts to go through with it. I was that scared of the camera. And I think what I realized eventually was that, all that fear lived only inside my mind. The fear wasn't real. Because when I finally learned to overcome the fear, I realized that people don't really even care what you look like. People don't care if you have a big ears or a skew nose or whatever it is that you have, because no one's perfect. And so if you're looking for, or if you're waiting for perfection, you may just repel your audience because no one in your audience is perfect. And I want to share something I heard this morning from the creator of TubeBuddy. And he said, winners were beginners. I'm going to repeat that. Winners were beginners. So we all start at zero.
Nice. Really nice. Tina.
Well, I did a little research, if you saw my little promo video I did using Avatar, and the imposter syndrome the definition is feelings of inadequacy despite your huge success. Did you know that Maya Angelou and Albert Einstein suffered from imposter syndrome? And look at what they accomplished. So my live journey began in the first year of Periscope. I heard about it right when it came out. And it took me, that was in March. It took me until August to hit the go live. I'm like, who's going to want to watch me? I make these crazy faces. And I thought, you know what? Just start with the butterflies. Everybody loves butterflies. Not everybody knows about how to raise them, release them, how important they are to the environment. So my first lives were actually butterfly releases and talking about butterfly farming, pollinators, why they're important to the earth, and how making small, seemingly insignificant changes can create huge results professionally, personally, psychologically, mentally, emotionally. So many well-rounded things can happen when you make just a small little change. So, and that can be done by going live. You might have a message for someone that they need to hear that day. I've had people tell me, you know what, I don't know how you got in my head, but what you said today on your live was exactly what I needed to hear. And that to me is priceless.
Absolutely. Thank you. Fonz.
Yeah, my live broadcasting goes back to the radio days. So I could turn up. So I was so used to turning up, probably not even a shave, looking complete mess, and it wouldn't matter. So it was just my voice that they heard. And in the early days, even back with radio, I didn't think what I was going to be broadcasting would interest people. Like when I first got on radio, I was just a young lad sorting out the news stories for the breakfast show, and then the station manager found out that I had a history interest and asked me to do a show, and I said I'll do one. That's it, because I can't. This is too much, and did one. I wasn't happy with it at all. I spent 40 hours editing it and still was never happy with it. And it went out, and actually I had people messaging the station actually saying this is one of the most shows that somebody's messaged about, people saying how emotional it made them cry and stuff, brought back memories, and like, wow. And that sort of got my journey going in radio, and I felt comfortable in radio, and because nobody could see me, they just heard my voice, so I didn't have a problem with that. But then I started doing a few bits because we had a local TV station set up around here, and I started to do a few bits in front of the camera, and that was a bit grueling because it wasn't live, it was pre-recorded, but I refused to look at any of the footage afterwards because I didn't like looking at myself. I got past that, and now doing live broadcasting online, it was like going back to the beginning, doing radio really, because sitting there thinking, wow, even like you're saying, sweaty palms, nervous, I'm going to go live. They're not only going to hear me, they're going to see me. And it was nerve-wracking, basically, my first show. And I think if I look back up on it, it's there somewhere online. I'm going bah, 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 and I'm trying to keep with it, and it's thinking they can see my expressions now, so I've got to look at the camera. Am I looking in the right place? Am I doing this? So it was a new adventure, because radio, you can, what I did was chop it up, edit it, and I did do live radio as well, but it's completely different. You're not conscious. You're just talking, like you're somebody there, and you're just talking to them, but you're also seeing you, so you're more conscious of how you look on the screen as well. So it was a completely new experience for me as well.
Well, great. Because I, to be honest, I don't think too much. I remember when I started at Blab in 2015, I had a group of boys from Portugal, and then I challenged them to come up with shows at Blab, and we should plan, we should this, we should that, and I was, what? It's a kind of soap opera we are coming with? No, just go. And then some started to giving up, and then okay, go away. And that's it. I think, well, first of all, I think I'm confident, and I was shy, I have to admit. I remember in high school I had to present a work I made to psychology, and it took me 2 classes and a half to present the work, which should be made on 15 minutes. So it was and it was kind of a lesson. Then I also have I here in Portugal, if you want to make trainings, you certificated by, and which maybe have money from the government to support, and you should make a course, a training to be a trainer. Okay, and the first there's at the beginning, it's a first training you should do. It's kind of, let's see how you were and how at the end how you will be. And the first one I made, it was crazy. I tried to make everything spontaneously, and it was a mess, a huge mess. And then it was a kind of lesson for the end. I should plan and should make my things right to bright, and it was okay at the end. And I love to be on stage, for instance. I love to share. It's okay. I think I'm a little bit different, but one thing about this thing, the imposter syndrome, I think it's good. It's make you aware, responsible of delivering nice things, good things to your. Till this point, I think it's okay, but then I think, okay, stop. How do you perceive your first experience live, for instance, and your feeling at the end? Should I go? It was awful. Should I go on? Not? What? Your thoughts about it? Because it's a problem. For instance, nobody watching me. Oh, I'm not willing to do this anymore. Or microphone didn't work. I don't want to do this anymore. Bridgetti.
Yeah, I know. I think, we all start with that. Who am I? Why do people want to, why would people want to listen to me? But we all are interested in things, and we all have something about us that's interesting to others. And I think the thing that kind of made me okay with going live is when I connected the dots between being yourself the way you are in real life and being that on camera. Don't become a different person on camera to what you are in real life. Sure, when you speaking on camera, you do want to project your voice a little bit more than you would in in everyday speech. You want to project your voice a bit so people can hear you clearly, and so you can be a bit more articulate. But other than that, you want to have your personality has to be the same. It has to shine through. So none of us have met in person, but I don't want any one of you, when we meet finally one day, to say, okay, who are you again? You know, I don't want that kind of experience. In fact, I met someone after 2 years that, of streaming about the water crisis online, and we met 2 years later. And she said to me, wow, my goodness, it's like we were visiting in our lounge for the last 2 years. There was no awkwardness whatsoever. We've been engaging online for 2 years. So we've all got something interesting. So bring that something interesting to the audience, because there's always something that other people don't know. Share that. That's what people are there for. People are not there to look at your face, to look at your makeup, to look at your surroundings.
Thankfully.
Sure. I mean, sure, we don't want to arrive looking drab, because you wouldn't arrive drab when you're meeting your friends for coffee, right? You'd make a bit of effort when you were going to meet a pal for coffee. You're not going to just get up there and, not brush your teeth or wash your face. You're going to do those pleasantries. So do the same thing when you show up live. It's like you're meeting friends. To me, it's like we're sitting around a coffee table here. That's what it feels like. And that's exactly what it is. So I think once you make that mental switch, you can actually switch off that imposter syndrome in your head, because it really is a mental thing more than anything else. That's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Tina.
So I think Bridgetti brought up a really important point. And a couple years ago, I went to Social Boom, and my roommate was the incredible Kathy Nolan that I met on Periscope, and then we followed each other on Facebook. We decided to be roommates. She was coming from New York. I was driving from 3 hours, and my husband says, you're going to this conference. You're rooming with someone. I heard you on the phone. I said, oh yeah, I know her from Periscope. And my husband's like, you're rooming with someone you met online? She could be a mass murderer. I'm like, no, we've been on lives together. We've talked on the phone. We've sent each other gifts. I feel like I know Bridgetti, like I know my next door neighbor, because we've shared things together privately, online, in lives together, etc. And you have to remember that going live is only going to get bigger. You have a message, whether, as we talk about in Ladies Go Live, it's about your creativity, your business, your artwork, your nonprofit, your passion, your community. You have something. I have chills, so we know I'm talking the truth here. You have something to share that can benefit others. And if you miss that boat of hitting go live, you're going to be left behind in the dust. And you know what? Hey, I'm not going to use the name, but that K family that's all over the news and TV and media. I'm not one of the in their blank family, because I'm not a perfect supermodel and I don't spend 2 hours doing my makeup and do all this stuff. I am who I am. This is what you're going to get when we meet for coffee or lunch or at a conference or whatever. I'm the exact same person. All the good, the bad. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and everybody isn't mine. But you will find the people that vibe with you when you go live. They're going to be attracted to you like a magnet. So in answer to your original question, Marco, how do I feel from the first time I went live to now? Well, of course, I've really flexed my live muscle. Thanks a lot to Ladies Go Live, my partners Lottie and Jen, and all the women I met through there, including Bridgetti, and so many wonderful people. I maxed out my friends on Facebook. I have international contacts around the world that I can go to when I have a question, a situation, a challenge, a problem, whatever. My whole world is open, and I don't even have a passport.
Love it.
Fonz.
Just wash your hands. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and drink water.
Yeah, no.
Next.
Yeah, no. Things that I've going back to the radio thing. People that I met moving on to different stations, and I used to listen to other people's shows. And when you finally got to meet the person that did the show, like you walk in and go, oh, he does this show at 5 o'clock till does a drive show. You walk in there and you meet them, And suddenly what I found is like what you hear is like completely different. The voice is so different, and like you're thinking, that's not him. And then like go, you don't sound nothing like that. And it is me. That's my radio voice. And I said, well, why do you need to have a radio voice? Why can't it's not you? So you're sitting there for 2 hours telling people about different tracks and about travel and all that and the weather, and you put this fake voice on, so they think they're hearing one thing, but actually there's somebody else underneath it. And I couldn't understand that, because if you're going to do that, you got to be yourself, really. And this guy completely bemoans me, really. Like, he's like, when he's doing a show, yeah, it's just Diamond. And, hello, how are you? Sort of thing. Like, like I couldn't understand that. So you've got to be yourself. And I've also met other people who have tried to be something they're not, took influences from other people and tried to mimic their influences, and it's not took them anywhere. I think you've got to be unique. You've got to be yourself. And I think as well, if you're yourself and you're passionate about something and you're talking about it, then that passion comes through. You can't just follow what somebody else has done in the past. Maybe it's successful for them because they are being their self, but you're not being yourself. You're copying them, and you're just making another one of them. And nobody wants another one of somebody else from long ago. They want you to be an individual. So that's something I learned as well.
That's huge, and it goes to where I want to be. Because one thing that should help us when we are starting is to pick some ideas, some references to. For instance, one thing I used to advise for people to start appearing, it's to comment on others' posts on another. So it's good. You start appearing. You start to validate your ideas, which is, I think, comment is not, oh, great, nice post. Oh yeah, you rock, man. I think it's good to get some ideas. Let's see what people are talking about. Maybe it is trending, it is useful. Okay, that's nice. Let me share my ideas, start commenting there and engaging with others, which could be useful for you to start getting that confidence, that awareness about you, about your knowledge. I think it's good. But on the opposite side, it could be this that Fonz talked about. It's start to replicating someone else's style, which could be like we used to say here in Portugal, a shot in the foot. Yeah. It will be nice, I think, for us to share how do you get that inspiration, what we make to plan our shows, for instance, to get that confidence. One thing I think Be.Live should do at the after 30 seconds, it should go live automatically, at least 5 minutes. If you are staring to the screen, 30 seconds, okay, go live.
Trial by fire.
I've had that done to me on radio. The very first live show I didn't even know I was live. They told me it was a test run, and it was actually live. And once I said everything, I said to them, when are we going live? Oh, it's done. And I went in head first, and I think that's the best way, really, sometimes.
You know,
It
this
really
brings up. Go ahead, Bridgetti.
No, you go.
It brings up a really important point. When I do a lot of school photography, I'm around a lot of elementary age kids. And there's one phrase that I want to share that pretty much applies to life. When you tell the truth, you never have to worry about what you said. And this applies to being an imposter. When you're that fake persona, you have to wonder, did I say that as Tina or did I say that as that fake persona? When you tell the truth, you never have to worry about what you said because there is only one truth. And nobody does you better than you. And believe me, like I said, you have a message that someone out there is waiting to hear.
Absolutely.
I couldn't
Jenny.
agree with you. Absolutely. You know, Tina, you hit the nail on the head there. And I think, unfortunately, most of us hold back, and I'm not quite sure why we do that. And Marco, that comes back to your very first point about, if you are in business, if you have a business, These days, you have a responsibility to incorporate live video into your marketing strategy, because how else are you going to let people know that you are open for business? How else are you going to let people know that you are approachable? How else are you going to let people know that you're trustworthy, that your products are trustworthy? Because if you are not um, open to looking at people eyeball to eyeball like this, how are you going to build that know, like, and trust factor? You can't meet this many people eyeball to eyeball in person. It's it's not possible. It's not humanly possible. But if you were to live stream, you can meet thousands of people, not just in your local space, in your local community, but you have the opportunity to meet thousands of people from around the globe. Now, here is an amazing opportunity where if you've already jumped online, you have got such an amazing head start. We've got the coronavirus going around now. Thankfully, no cases in South Africa and Africa that I'm aware of just yet, but it's spreading in the US at the moment, and in other places. And one of the things people are doing is that they're canceling in-person conferences. The Facebook F8 Developers Conference has the live conference has been cancelled. It's going to be 100% digital this year. That is huge. The F8 Facebook conference is going to be fully digital this year. So there's no better time for you to go online. You don't want to risk meeting in person. You don't want to stop your business because of the coronavirus, but you can carry on doing digital. So if you're sitting there thinking, I can't do this, I shouldn't do this, you should be doing this. Jump on the bandwagon. Don't wait. Don't delay. Just do it.
Fonz.
Yeah, I've just seen the comment was about me and not having a beard and a mustache. There's a reason for that. It's to take people off the distraction that I've got a new pair of glasses. But back to the point. It's I think with this as well. Another thing that people worry about: am I doing it right? Is when you do a live show. Sometimes you've not always got the audience when you're live. You probably got one person, and it's probably your mum in the next room or something watching you. But the thing is, that sort of makes you feel that you're not important enough, and that you have to come somebody else because you're not the person they're looking for. That's not necessarily true, because maybe not get loads of views when you're live. Your viewers probably come afterwards. Because a lot of people watch on demand stuff, so you shouldn't feel okay, I've only got 2 people watching me, or my mum in the room next door. You got to think that actually who's going to be the bigger audience in the long run, and just carry on the way you are. Don't let that change you and feel that you as a person isn't what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Tina?
I'm listening. There's a lawnmower outside now.
So
That's the beauty of live. Your bird's screaming, your dog's barking, there's a lawnmower next door. Hey, it's real life, and that's what people tune into. And Fonz, you brought up a really great point. You know, I remember growing up, my favorite movie was The Wizard of Oz, and I never missed it, like 17 years in a row on Sunday night when it was on. But now you can pull things up on demand, and to this day, I am still surprised when I see people going live saying, I'm going to wait a few minutes until some more people show up. Why are you punishing the people that showed up to the party on time, and you're waiting for the latecomers? Only about 30% or less of your viewing audience is going to see you live. And a billion years ago in the Jane Fonda Go for the Burn days, I was an aerobic instructor. And guess what? You have to teach the same level of class, bring the same amount of energy, whether 2 people show up or 20 people or 200 show up. And it's viral. You can, you know, if you do a good show and you have good information, people are going to share it out, and it lives on and on. I just did a video last month with Social Girl Live about the power of the portrait. it's almost at 5,000 views. And the more people that see it, the more that are getting shared. So when you have really good information, it's like a continuous rerun. It's out there indefinitely. So make sure you have really good content and you're watching your language and you're, looking appealing, and you're starting to build. I hate when people say this, build your brand, but I'm known for butterflies. I'm known for always being bright and colorful, and that's my brand. So bring something of value to the table and use your manners. Watch your language, make it PG-13 applicable. And now even on YouTube, it says, is this kid appropriate? Make it appealing to everyone of all ages, so you stay out there, for your time, energy, and knowledge, what you're putting out there, that you perpetuate your lives.
Absolutely. And there's one thing about this, when there's nobody watching the show, which is you want to reuse the content, recycle the content. So what you're going to do, you're going to split. Okay, let's cut this when I was waiting for people. And that's it. Some people will come to see the replay. And it's also a nice, for instance, when I make a show and fewer people watched it, I at the end, it was training. I was there training, and then because it's easy to do things when they go good, they go right, and if they go left, that's the point. You should also be looking to the bright side of life, like they say. Yes, Fonz?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, that's another thing as well. When things start going wrong, people start panicking. And something that I've learned, that if it's going to look rubbish, this show, you might as well delete it afterwards and get rid of it. It's terrible. But to me, that's an important part. Things happen in everyday life where not everything goes to plan. Like you may arrange to go out and your car don't start and you don't get there. And the same with broadcasting live, because you can have times when things don't work properly, and I feel because it's live, it shows that it's happening at that moment, and you're broadcasting it happening this moment. There's no point to disguise it. You explain what's happening, or you make a joke out of it. Oh, this has happened. Oh, I've got to show you a picture, but you'd have to look at it next week because I can't get it to work. And I think that way you are being natural. You're not being fake. You're not trying to cover it up. And I think if you try covering it up, people, it's not that natural anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about weird things, because one thing that people used to ask me, oh, Marco, if someone if happens this or if happens that, or if a meteor comes in your show and explodes and everything, and I used to say, look, and if not. Because I made hundreds of live videos and just had one troll on. I think it's nothing. Share with us weird things that happen, how you overcome, because it's good for people to know, okay, if this happens, I could do this. Tina.
Boy, I can tell you, I love animals. I have a lot of animals, between dogs, cats, birds, iguanas, fish, and something's always happening at my house. I can be broadcasting and there's a big iguana on the back of my chair, and then she decides to jump on me, or the UPS man comes to the door and then all 4 dogs start barking. So there's always something that's going to happen. Just take a deep breath and roll with it. You're gonna be fine. And that's the beauty of being live, is you're getting real, you're getting raw, you're getting authentically you. And that's really what I enjoy watching on other people's lives, is their authentic self and what happens in their day-to-day life. So you just take a breath and roll with it. You're gonna find it funny, as long as it's nothing dangerous, of course. And please, I'm begging you, one thing to never do. Please never live and drive when you're behind the wheel. I'm begging you.
Nice point.
That's a bad idea. So that's one really important pet peeve of mine. If I see anybody going live while they're driving, I automatically unfollow them. I don't watch them. I might even send them a private message like, please don't do that. You're really endangering yourself and other people on the road.
I usually comment in their post while they're live saying, do you realise how dangerous what you're doing is? So they see it while they're doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of
absolutely.
the things that ties into my responsible social media hat. You cannot stream and drive. Do not stream and drive. Just reiterate what Tina said there. Um, and so I find that the one example that I like to use about going with the flow, one that most people have seen, thousands of people have seen, is the guy that was on TV and his kids came strolling in from behind and his wife eventually. We all know that experience, and we all have moments like that. Now, think about. I mean, in the end, the experience was quite funny, and we laughed about it. And the family has forever been endeared to the rest of the world because of their awesome experience. But think of how differently that would have played out if he had, in that moment, simply picked up his daughter, put her on his lap, gave her a quick squeeze. She would have been so content. She probably would have wanted to just jump off his lap immediately and toodled right on out. And the whole scenario would have been completely different. So when things do go wrong, and they will because it's live, I've interviewed people who have been in traditional media for a long time. People who are actors are used to doing pre-recorded, and they do thousands of takes until they get that scene just right. They're not used to doing what we do, which is live. And so whatever happens in that moment happens. And as Tina said, go with the flow. Just don't panic. If you hear your dogs, I've got two little Jack Russells here. And sometimes they decide it's fun to be on my show. And, they want to say hello to everyone. There's nothing I can do about it. So if I'm going to sit here, sweaty pawed, and start fretting about, oh my goodness, my dogs were barking, I don't do that, because there is no need to do that. It's okay. People understand it's live. And you know what the funny thing is? Very often the most successful or the most viewed live streams are the ones that were ridiculously stressful to the live stream at the time because they said something wrong or something went wrong, but it was a relatable experience to the audience, and that drew them. So all these funnies that you have happening is what's going to be relatable to your audience. So just go with it. Don't stress about it. Just do it. Live stream regardless. Don't wait for perfection.
Absolutely, because as I used to say, everything could happen, and if you are aware of that, I think it will be a smoother experience. Because okay, for instance, with me, my computer crashed, internet went down. One day, my PC didn't start it, and I had to make a show, and that it was one day. Another what was fun. I had the battery from my PC, the one who rules the watch, went crazy, and then the the time on my computer didn't match the time with Facebook to start the show. And here I was crazy. Oh my god, this I have 10 minutes to go live. What could I do? And I had a planned Be.Live masterclass, by the way, in Spanish. And oh my god, there were lots of people waiting for me to start the show, and I was here. Oh my god. At the end, I took the laptop. It was a crazy experience, but that's it. Today it will be easier for me to to manage everything, because sometimes it's good to face the problems, to have the problems, so you can see how you manage, and then to think again. Okay, did it well? Did I how can I make it in another way? So it's I think it's okay to share how you analyze the shows, because who do you ask feedback, which is something nice. Because one thing for me, it's a mistake to ask feedback to your family, to your friends, because most of them don't understand anything what you're doing. They will give you a not so good feedback. For instance, my mother thinks that I'm laughing to a camera. Some friends now, I think they change their mind because they see things about me. They oh, maybe what he's doing is serious, because I see something about him that makes me think that they are working. But most of them don't understand this. So I think it's nice for those who are watching this to understand how and who could help them with feedback.
I think, feedback is important from your peers rather than your friends and your family. I think I'm very fortunate in that the family members that that watch my streams, my immediate family doesn't watch it, but I want to give a shout out to my sisters-in-law. They've been absolutely fabulous. They watch my shows and they give me great feedback, and I think that's probably unusual when it comes to family. But they've been able to give me very valuable feedback. But feedback from your peers is absolutely invaluable because we learn from each other. It's how we got started. I watched thousands and thousands and thousands of videos from my peers before I became an accomplished live streamer. I watched tons of videos, and I learned what would work and what wouldn't work by watching lots of videos. And the other thing that I did that I recommend is when you wanting to get into live streaming and you're not confident enough, if somebody invites you onto camera, grab that opportunity. That was one of the things that I learned. There were some amazing people that I really looked up to in the live streaming community. And, my heart was sort of thumping in my chest. And I'm thinking, I can't be on camera with XYZ. But I did, whenever someone said, would you like to join me? My hand was raised. I raised my hand and I joined them on camera, and it was an amazing experience to be able to talk to these people. And that's how I got over my camera shyness and my imposter syndrome, was by volunteering to be on screen with people. So if you're still on the fence about it, someone invites you, raise your hand and be a guest.
I've had a guest on a show in the past who was really nervous about appearing, but finally did it after keep putting it off, and they did a bit. Then when the show finished, and they were going, "Is it over? I want to do more and more." And actually, a few months later, they actually come to me, and go, I got this idea. I like street lights and talking about street lights. Nobody will be interested in that. I go, actually, I think you'll find that they will. And I helped this guy Jay put a show together where he sits in his shed talking about streetlights, and he's quite popular in the streetlight community now, talking about streetlights. And he would have never believed that he would have done this about this time last year. It's by making taking that first step, getting over that fear of appearing once on my show as a guest. Actually, I can do this, and me saying to him, no, people do want and would love to hear about it, that he's actually now doing his show. I'm helping him make a second series of it as well. So he's done 7 episodes and looks to make 6 more. So, which is good. And hopefully after that series, because he's not sure of all the technical stuff, hopefully he'll be going on his own and carrying on his own then.
Yeah.
I have something to add to that, because I always think of every time I go live as putting my resume out there. I actually got invited to speak at the World Parliament on Spirituality a couple of years ago because of my presence on live, going live. They see your delivery, they see your personality, they hear your topics. You never know where this is going to lead you. It can be monetized. It can really put your name out there. It can increase your reputation, enhance your career and what you're doing, and open the doors and windows to an array of opportunities that you could not even have imagined.
I call that a digital CV. So everything you do online forms part of your digital CV. In fact, I encourage people to do a quick 2-minute video of themselves as part of the digital CV, because nothing can really give people the essence of who and what you are as a live video could do. You know, a CV is a piece of paper. No one can pick up your personality from that document. No one can pick up your personality from pointing them to your website. But you give your website a new lease of life if you put just a 2-minute intro video of yourself on the very front page, on the home page of your website. It will make a massive difference because people immediately connect with you. And I think, you know, just tying back into responsible social media, remember that whatever you do online, as we just said, whatever you do online, anything you do or say online forms part of your digital CV. So be responsible, be careful what you put out there. It's, you know, whatever you put out there, there's no delete button.
It's your footprint.
Yes, it's a digital footprint. There's no delete button. So even if you put something out there and you go and delete the content afterwards, we live in a society where the minute something is out there, people can and will take screenshots. They will take screenshots. So don't think it's sufficient for you to go and delete that video afterwards because someone's already screenshot that content. It takes just a fraction of a second to take a screenshot. So be really, really, really careful and responsible.
Absolutely. And there's one thing, there's a huge thing about this of give that step in front, then showing up. And I think you may agree with me. It's the learning you get from this. I mean, for instance, on the other series we made in November, I think, at the end, I became overwhelmed with everything I learned from you, and from my guests I have on my show, and also the learning I get from when I do it by myself. I mean, okay, maybe I should come up with this idea. Maybe I should do this another way. Of course, I need to become better. I need to improve the light, sound, and that's one thing. If you don't start, you won't get that insights, that things that will also, because you want to make it better. You challenge yourself to make it better. So I think it's also that we should think about it, right?
Yeah. But the other thing is as well, with online, you're not under the umbrella of a big organization. Like in the past, when you've been broadcasting, you would have to go through a big television organization, a big radio organization, audition, do all this, and then you would follow their strict rules. And I've had to do that in broadcasting in the past. So I've had to sit in a studio playing songs that I don't even like and talking about stuff like, okay, at 5 o'clock this is happening, and it's boring. And I listened back to my stuff and how boring it was that I left. And I think now this is your opportunity to be yourself and come across as you. And okay, that's what the big media companies are doing, but you don't need to do that. Now this is your opportunity to be you and be something completely different and change the whole way it's viewed, really, and be something new. And that's what people want, I think. People are tired. If you look at people's comments, the same thing, like radio stations play the same songs, TV stations play the same sort of programs, like same sort of gendered programs, but people want something different, like Jay's show. There's no TV program, there's no radio show talking about streetlights. Okay, it's not because it won't fit their thingy, because it's only for a select amount of people. But those select amount of people would love it, and that's what's happening now. He's filled that gap for a select amount of people, and he's got his audience, and he doesn't need thousands of viewers. He just needs his audience, because that's who it's for, and he's catering from them, and he's sharing his passion, and they're hearing his passion and getting involved in it. So it's completely new way of looking at it, and it's even better to be yourself and put across your things, because you're not basically under the thumb of some bigger organization telling you how you've got to do it.
I like that point.
I was going to say, a great idea would be, those of you watching, even in the replay, tell us in the comments, if you had to do a video today, what topic would you do it on? And maybe other people can jump on and say, I'd watch you, or I'd support that, or I'd be your guest. Let us support you, either with connections or our own spin on things. So if you'd like some help in the comments, write what theme or topic you'd love to go live about. We'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic way to help you launch your topic, because sometimes we get stuck with, what do I talk about? You know, how do I get started? Will people be interested in this topic? And that's a great way to test to see whether there's an interest in a topic. Is if you comment on other people's shows and you kind of see how many comments there are when you pose a question. And I want to speak to what Marco said earlier. That means you have to, I can't remember who it was. Someone said, be the kind of commentator you would like others to be on your show.
It was Lottie that told
Was it
that.
Lottie?
Yeah.
Yes. So make your comments count. Make your comments intelligent. Make your comments resourceful and valuable. So if you're looking to see whether people are interested in something, use a show like this that is fairly generic in content, and then put a thought out there and see what comes back. And if people bite at that, you know you're onto something. And that's what TubeBuddy apparently is all about. And I haven't really checked it out, but they've kind of done all the background work for you. They know what people are looking for already. And so if you go to TubeBuddy, and that's one of the things that Be.Live TV does now, is the ability to not just stream on YouTube, but to actually schedule your shows on YouTube. So to help you
Like
do
this
more,
one.
yes, like this one. So to do it more effectively, you can go to TubeBuddy and see what people are looking for, and then see what topics you are knowledgeable on, and then use those keywords that they already know the algorithm likes, and then tie your topic, because your topic is what is going to draw your audience and the keywords. So use that to your advantage by or as a means of making your content count, by using a catchy phrase for your live stream, and make it something that people are already looking for. You know, in other words, you're going to fill a need that's already there. You don't have to do the homework. You already know that is what people are looking for, and now you can just fill the need.
Absolutely. Tina, any thoughts
That's
about
the
it?
lawnmower. You would think I lived on 10 acres with the amount of time they're spending out here today, but I don't.
Any thoughts on this?
There is one thing I'd like to do.
Okay.
I actually forgot that I can actually be voice only.
Okay. You're kind of the big brother.
No, you can't
I'm
see
the
me, but you
voice.
can hear me. Just to the topic of imposter syndrome, Tina made a video earlier. So if I may take Tina off screen for a moment and hide her, and go over here, and when I find it, bring up the video. I'm going to take the video full screen, and while they all get a breather, let's listen to Tina's video.
Go.
And I'm going to, just a minute, I might even press play.
Oh, there. Today we're talking about impostor syndrome. Have you heard of it before? It's when feelings of inadequacy take over despite amazing success the person has. They feel that they're just not worthy of the success they've had. Chronic self-doubt and intellectual fraudulence overtake their whole persona. So maybe they're afraid to go live. Maybe they don't want to push that go live button. They're afraid of putting out there who they really are. Two names you might recognize that had imposter syndrome, and you're not going to believe it. Maya Angelou and Albert Einstein both suffered from imposter syndrome. Join us today on 5 Days Live, and we will talk about the imposter syndrome and how to overcome it. Just click the reminder button and we'll see you at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Bye.
I was sitting back relaxing watching that then.
Nice.
Gotta love the avatars, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
I just did that as a little promo for today's show to, again, show the imposter and how some people do hide behind an avatar. But I thought it was a great way to promote the show, and it was late last night, and I already taken a shower and had no makeup on.
So I want to just say those kind of avatars are absolutely amazing, especially if you want to do a trailer for your show, to promote your show. So those are the kind of avatars we love. They get thumbs up. The avatars that get a thumbs down are the ones that keyboard warriors use to hide behind and pretend and be nasty to people. So those are the kind of avatars we don't like.
Yeah, I've had a week of people hiding behind things. So just by making a few comments, but there you go. So I feel
Nice topic. How do you deal with that? Because that's one fear people have when they want to come in front. Okay, that could be a rebellion or something. My God, they kill me. How do you deal? What do you advise to people who may be scared about this? How to deal with?
Well, what I do if anybody's comes across with a bad comment, I ask them to explain, ask how can I help you? Like they come up with something like, some people are doing it deliberately and trying to get a reaction. So what you do is you've got to stay calm because they're obviously trying to push your buttons sometimes and get a reaction from you. So you just they come up with something. Oh, then you say, okay, play respect what you're saying. Explain what you mean. Then I can help you understand it more. Or if you tell me more, maybe I can make changes. And you'll find that if they are trying to get reaction, they soon disappear. They either say this is boring or you're an idiot or whatever, and they disappear. If they're being serious, like trying to offer you advice, they would carry on. They would change. Some people do get angry to start with, because they're frustrated because they feel you're doing something wrong. But the people that are genuine, if you're honest to them, saying, look, okay, I'm listening to you, they will then change their tone and say, okay, you are listening to me, yeah, and you are taking the advice. So whatever way, if you just got to stay calm and not let the people that are trying to push your buttons, push your buttons. And there is a lot of people that will try everything. And one of the funny thing is with me is my name. I've been asked, have I done some weird things with Putsy out of Happy Days, and lots of other things that I can't comment on this show. But I just find it funny now. I'm so used to it. It's not like nothing that I haven't heard before. But you do get that, and you've just got to rise above it and try and keep calm and just ride it out by just saying, okay, yeah, I understand. How can I change this? How can I help you? What are you trying to say? And explain more and things like that. That's all I've done with it. And they either disappear or they come more friendly because you're actually listening.
I totally agree with what you said there. But I think for me, the key is to, when you're going into live streaming, to know that there's a possibility of this happening. It can happen. It can happen, it happens on Twitter all the time. So it's not just about live streaming. If you are online, if you have an online persona, it can happen anywhere. So it's not that it's just special to live streaming or that it only happens in live streaming. It can happen on any online platform. So be aware that it can happen and it will happen at some point. Yeah. So you can, one, just laugh it off. You can choose to completely ignore them and not give them don't give them the time of the day. Or you can disarm them with exactly what Fonz said. And I like those three options. And I definitely incorporate them in my live streams. But I think, just expect it.
Yeah,
and
I think
know how you're going to deal with it.
I think if you're going to do live streaming or whatever it is, even like set up a Facebook page, or because even with that, or do anything, or website, blog, or whatever, if you're going to do these things, the first thing that you got to really be ready for is you can please some of the people that are going to like it, but you're not going to please everybody. And you've got to be ready that those people who you're not pleasing are going to say something, and you've got to know which way you're going to deal with it. If you're not ready for it, then it's probably not wise to take that next step into it, I think.
I remember in the early Periscope days, they would say show Bobs because they would spell boobs right. And luckily, I'm married to a man named Bob, so I would invite Bob in. Or I'd be doing a park scope, walking my dogs and pointing out native wildlife. And that's something I love to see is wildlife from around the world. And you'd get some smart aleck on there saying, I want to see your feet. I want to see feet. So I'd show my little dog's feet. So you can get creative and humorous.
Love it.
Get creative and humorous with it and have some fun. But there's always going to be trolls, although it's changed a lot now. You can block them. And I find my community will usually back me up. You'll have moderators on now, and they'll back you up. So it's a whole different ball game now than it was 5 years ago.
I want to agree with that. Live streaming has come a long way from the pioneering years, from, the initial start. I mean, Periscope's completely different now. Those years were incredibly challenging with all the trolls. It was terrible. In fact, a lot of people left Periscope because they didn't know how to deal with the trolls. And, things have changed. It's so much easier. I love the block button. I try not to use the block button too much. Because you kind of want to see if you can win people over first, but it's a great last resort. I mean, you can't win over everyone, that's not possible. So it's wonderful that we've got the block button at our disposal. So that's always an option.
What I find is the people that you can't win over and they don't like it because you challenge. Well, in my case, when I'm challenging them, they end up blocking me. So they do. So they. so that is less effort for me.
Well, one thing is for sure: if someone is upsetting you, it's because you're doing the things right. Because nobody, I think it was Guy Kawasaki who said, if at 10 a.m. nobody is upset with you, you're not doing the things right.
That's an awesome thought. I think we're at the top of the hour, and so maybe we should just quickly round up.
Okay, let's go. Final thoughts, ladies and gents.
Final thoughts. I'm going to go back to my book. You are what you think. And if you think that you're something or you're not, you're right. So why not put positive thoughts? I am powerful. I am safe. I'm empowering someone else today to make better decisions. I am love. I am gratitude. And I'm putting myself out there. And that alone, you're doing something that a lot of people can't or won't do. So kudos to you. Hit that go live and share your message.
Perfect.
I think I want to go back to what I heard from TubeBuddy, and that is that winners were beginners. You can never reach your goal unless you cross the start line. So you have to go live in order to connect with your audience, to put your products, your services, or whatever it is out there. So hit the go live button, and if you are still hesitant, go live with a friend. It's one of the easiest way to overcome your fear and also to beat the imposter syndrome. So go live, and lots of love from Cape Town.
Fonz?
Yeah, I was so interested in listening to that. Just be yourself, and what you got to realize as well is by not sharing your voice and sharing what you want, there's a missed opportunity, not just for yourself, but for people who may be interested in what you wish to discuss. So there's that opportunity to realize that you could be giving advice, support, information to somebody who's not able to find it because what you're doing is unique. And you can have good days, bad days with it. You can have somebody, like I was saying earlier, only one person tune in, but there might be somebody later on who comes along who's going to find your information very useful. So never think that it's not important, and at least give it a try, and always be yourself, because by being yourself, they're seeing how much you're passionate about what you're talking about as well.
That's perfect. Well, I have two things to say. The first one is, um, look how the people you like to see, those gurus, started, which may makes you understand how things work. For instance, I used to show my first videos on my trainings, and people laugh because they were awful. And there's someone said, if you're not ashamed how you started too late, because you will improve. And another thing is, everything that may comes to you, if you give that step forward. For instance, for me, I learned a lot, I improved a lot, and mostly I got friends from literally all over the world, which is something amazing. For me, which look, that's the place where I live, behind that mountain. So I'm far away from. Okay, I got lost my sound. Okay, I'm on. Okay, again. So start. And if you have, if you are scared and you want someone to help you, please call me, reach me out, and I see if I can help you. Okay. So, ladies and gents, we are coming to the end, and now the end is near.
Thanks for watching,
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you
Bye from
tomorrow
Vietnam.
again.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Yes. Yes. Bye.